programs still have the spine
Welcome.
of the middle that have come back.
Welcome.
Georgia adding Deja
Welcome back
to the lineup. But
to
Pitt's brought
Turner
back kind of up to the
Soccer
middle,
Complex
their key
Stadium.
players. So the question for both of these
We are
programs
already
have been the wide
underway
players,
in the
wingers,
first
kids out
half.
wide. Who's going to step up and fill in those gaps from the previous
And
season?
we are underway.
Who had 6 goals for Georgia a year ago,
So-
going out wide to Pirello.
So the team we're rooting for
Control.
tonight's game
Great job
is
on the back end for Pitt. Now the Panthers will
Georgia
try to
Bulldogs.
Great ball handling there from Fury. She goes back to Abby Oden. Nifty footwork there. And Abby Oden, how about this? 3 straight games in the Olympics, played all 90 for Team Nigeria.
I was just about to say, they clearly gave her enough rest because she doesn't look remotely tired.
She is fit. As the Panthers are getting a little physical out there. As you see, Pitt's number 5, Sarah Shapansky. She's one of those players, Tatum, we talk about this a lot. We've been doing this for 10 years now, 10-year anniversary of the
And we on
SEC.
SEC Network Plus.
Have you back as my partner. And Shapansky, one of those players, if you're for Georgia, you say, boy, I hadn't really called her name yet, but you look at those stats.
And our jerseys is white.
There, but Georgia cleared out with Ellie
And
Gilbert.
Pittsburgh
And those players,
Panthers,
your
their
coaching
jersey
days,
is
can be doubly
blue.
dangerous. You feel like, 10, 11 minutes hadn't done much. Next thing you know, they're like a viper.
Gold. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No. You keep paying attention to where she is. You don't leave that one.
So, if we remember from last year's season, the Georgia Bulldogs has
And
won
really right now,
the
the first 10 minutes of the game, Pitt seems to be a bit more cleaner. They're
won the
able to put more passes together.
the
have a little bit
national
more possession.
championship
And
game
it looks like Georgia's just
against
a step slow
Arkansas.
on the defensive side, and then when Georgia gets the ball, Pitt is pouncing on them quickly for a quick turnover.
Can
So
Georgia
Georgia's
Bulldogs
having
can make
trouble getting any
another
sort of momentum
national
going in the
championship
attack,
game again?
Really in the midfield as well.
It's hard getting tied up. Nice job back there with Fury. Another point there with Abby Oden playing in the Olympics. Doesn't look like she missed a beat, even though obviously she was not practicing with the Panthers during that time. Here's Pitt setting it up on the left side, and there she is again. It's Brown. Oh boy, that ball is loose. This is trouble here for Georgia. Brown didn't field it cleanly, and the Dogs dodge a bullet. But that was one of those cases, Tatum. Shapansky was just lurking there and not really.
And as a reminder,
by the Dogs.
And this is right now where
as
Georgia's
a
gonna have to
reminder,
somehow get possession of
the
ball.
school year
They
at the
continue to
University
chase
of
the first
Georgia
half.
has
It's gonna be a
started it
tough second half for
last
them.
2
But if
days
they can
ago
win
to
that ball
start the
over, they can have to keep passing
2024
and get a bit of rhythm. Right now,
2025
they're just having to
academic
defend.
school year.
Off field to Stelzer. There's Abby Oden. Nice little spin going to her left and a good feed. And then cutting in front, Ellie Gilbert for Georgia. Very nicely done. Bulldogs number 12, Maddie Pirello, who had 3 goals in her Florida career, but right back, Abby Oden.
And right then, when Ellie Gilbert steps up and makes a great defensive play and then plays the ball for Maddie Pirello, she's going to have to find a way to continue to pass. Just kicking the ball away is not doing anything for Georgia. It's just allowing Pitt to continue to attack.
Kate Harden out on the right side. Harden, one of Georgia's most experienced players. As the Bulldogs try and turn it. Back into the middle, a little touch there from Torber.
And this is the first bit of possession that Georgia's had. So now can Georgia keep the ball? Can they let Pitt defend a bit? Can they let Pitt chase? Give Georgia a second to kind of catch your breath and just put together some possession, because that's what they like to do.
Torber knocks that one away.
And then coming up by next week, we'll be starting the women's volleyball season. That's going to be a fun game to watch.
From Montreal. And where Pitt's located, they're really right in the midst of several soccer hotbeds, including the city of Pittsburgh. Of course, Athens just 70 miles from Atlanta, talent-rich area. Ellie Gilbert on the back end for Georgia. That's a little header job there from number 15, Chloe Menas. Let's take a look at Jordan Brown on the back end, who's been a rock for Georgia since she took over.
This is actually going to be a tough game. I can tell you right now, during the first game of the season.
But for Jordan Brown, she helped ignite things 2 years ago. The plan was for her to redshirt. Then around mid-season, Kanani McAlpine said, we need a spark. She provided it. No doubt Georgia doesn't make those last 2 NCAA tournaments without her outstanding play.
And I still remember the game she played. I think it was her first punt. it went well over the half circle. We looked at each other and we're like,
difference maker.
got it.
As Pitt tries to get it out for Shapansky. Yeah, how about those stats? You mentioned it, though, Tatum. 11 goals, 14 assists.
It's probably the 14 assists that's even more incredible, even compared to the 11 goals. I mean, that's tough to do. That's a goal every other game.
Carolyn Smith into the lineup for the Bulldogs, a 5'9" sophomore out of Woodstock.
And that's one thing Georgia's going to have to do tonight. Got a few players coming back from injury. They're going to have to figure out how to navigate their playing time. They're still working their way back. So they're not able to play 90 minutes. And Maddie Perillo was one of them. She was out for most of preseason. So she was able to give them 15 minutes. And then Caroline Smith came into the game.
They talk about this Pitt program and the job that Randy Waldron has done for the Panthers. I mean, they were one of those teams that was just struggling to have a winning record just to keep their heads above water. And now, when you look at the various polls, they're ranked as high as number 3. They have just been a terrific program and a power in the ACC. As Tatum mentioned, winning 3 games in the NCAA tournament, record for wins, points, goals, assists, and obviously making it all the way to the Elite Eight.
I mean, 190.
The season will last until it'll be October or November.
Stat sheet
We've got a long way to go.
Number 10, Kira Mellenhorst. She's part of the glue of this team. Just plays there in the middle. Had 3 goals last year, 8 career assists. And this is a team where you feel like with their returning players, they really know their roles. And as we said, Tatum, you play for both sides here. These are 2 tremendous teams that, they're goals of the College Cup, a Final Four here. For whoever loses this game, you're going to be disappointed, but at the same time, you're going to know a lot more about your squad.
Sure. And that's kind of how this type of game works. If you look across the country, some teams are playing low RPI teams. Some teams are playing their crosstown rival. Everybody likes to do it a different way. And when this opportunity came up, Coach McAlpine just said, it's going to get our kids' attention.
Sure.
If they're not up for this game, we have a problem, and we'll figure it out very quickly. So I think Pitt the same way, to travel down here, play a game, have to travel back, get on a plane this early. And we talked about with the ACC, Pitt goes out and plays Cal and Stanford in 1 week. Like, that is a tremendous travel weekend. I mean, you leave on a Wednesday, you head out west, you play Stanford and Cal, and then you come back and gotta go to class?
Yeah, that's
brutal.
A bit of a grinder. Conference expansion. Here's Smith with the entry, and here the Bulldogs with Patrizio. Nice pass up top, and Dennigan. That's a good job on the back end. Caulfield got it there, and also Olivia Lee. But Tatum, maybe an opportunity here for Georgia.
That's right. Set pieces are big, and defending them and attacking them both. You really want to put the most into your set piece opportunities. And this early in the season, first game of the year, no one's going to show anything crazy. Look, Georgia, they're probably just going to drop it in the box. But this is where Pitt can learn to defend and learn off defending and try to keep the ball in the back of the net.
Nicole Vernus, who had 7 assists a year ago with the corner, trying to center it, and that'll be an easy roller right there to the standout keeper, Elliott Breach.
Now, if you're Georgia, you have a little bit of momentum. Can you win this 50-50 ball? Can you continue to attack and end up in your attacking third instead of defending?
And by the way, this also, not only is it the first soccer game of the year, it's the Bulldogs with Smith, and then here comes Pitt back the other way. Love that number 86, Abraham. Now Georgia going to take it back the other way with Smith if we got a whistle. But for a lot of schools, the soccer season tends to get underway quicker than volleyball. So just as the case here in Georgia, this is the first official sporting event of the 24-25 campaign.
That's right. And only the second day of class here on campus at Georgia. So a lot of buzz going on. You can see over the hill. A lot of fans are here.
This might be the second day of class, actually.
A lot of
I think this is probably the second day of class, and I think as a reminder that the school year at the University of Georgia has started since
J.
yesterday.
Reed Parker, Director of Athletics, Josh Brooks, has just done
And we have some
tremendous
soccer
job.
fans
His
who were
background is in
here, and
facilities,
here they are, the
this
fans in the
area away
stands.
from the main part of campus, soccer and softball located next to each other. Tremendous improvements going on, and I think for recruiting, you're certainly seeing the fruits of that for the Bulldogs.
And they just broke ground across the street for the new track and field facility. So kind of building out here where there's a little bit more space and you're able to dump into the facilities.
So here's Stelzer back towards the middle. Chloe Minas, very good player for Pitt. There's Abby Oden.
And you're seeing just there by Minas and Abby Odom how good they are in the ball. This Pitt team is very technical. They're very good on the ball. They're very good combining, creating, interchanging. So Georgia's really having to defend as a unit.
So Abby Oden, she grew up in the town of Oyo, Nigeria. As there you see Smith against Abraham, again a freshman for the Panthers. And for Abraham, the freshman, and Tatum, you were a great player in the ACC at Clemson, but for any freshman in any sport, it's a lot easier when you're surrounded by veterans.
Oh, well, sure. And think about it. She showed up on campus, could have come for the second summer session if Pitt operates like most of the schools do. So she's been on campus maybe 6 weeks.
Right.
And that's the thing with soccer being a fall sport and football being a fall sport. Football obviously comes in all summer, but she just got to campus. And
Right.
now she's expected to compete for her, her team who's a top 10 team in the program. Just a little bit of pressure there.
Here's Stelzer set to throw it in for the Panthers. Abby Oden. Holy smokes, is she good on the ball. Pitt pushing it ahead again with number 15, Chloe Minas. A lot of experience back. Another thing for Pitt, looking ahead, as we go through the game, you'll hear us say that a lot of players are sophomores. They have a great sophomore class. And for a lot of teams, you see them cash in when players are sophomores and juniors. You got that experience. You don't have to worry about the senioritis.
Right.
So this Pitt team, they are stacked for current and future. Georgia had a bit of an opening there with the Trezio. Just couldn't quite get on the same page with Hannah White. Pitt'll turn it back the other way. I texted Tatum this morning, all right, is this thing going to be a 1-0, 0-0? Is it going to be high scoring? I love you. He said, I have no idea, as they would say across the pond. A bit of a lottery here tonight between these two great teams.
You would think you're going to see more mistakes here at the first game of the season than you're going to see as the season goes on, but you're also not as sharp. So will you give up more goals early in the season? Yes, but can you combine and can you refeed off each other? You're seeing right now Hannah White and Margie DeTrezzi are having a little bit of hard time playing together and combining and knowing where each other is and what they're doing because they haven't. This is only the third game that Georgia's played that's similar. So same thing with Abraham being a freshman. Getting the feel with Fury and some of the other players, knowing what they want and where they want the ball.
As here's Torbert tries to center one, but it's back the other way for Pitt. And I would wonder, too, and I'm sure for the Panthers, that they can tinker with some things. I mean, you can really be a mad scientist with these two lineups here. But I'm even thinking with Fury and Abby Oden, maybe you get those two on the same side. That would be dangerous. But having those two on opposite sides of the midfield, they can cover so much ground. And then in the middle, you got the lurker there with Shapansky.
The lurker.
Just when I saw the stats, 11 goals, 14 assists.
It's the points. It's the points.
Yes. There's a whistle to point Georgia's way.
It's a little bit of a soft foul as well, but a little bit of a payback. There was an earlier soft foul down in this direction. So, yes, you want to keep it clean.
Here's Nicole Vernis, 6 goals, 7 assists for Georgia a year ago. Dogs tried to get with Dennigan. It's a great job by Pitt on the back end. And here comes Fury chasing this one. And Ellie Gilbert's going to get there for Georgia. Tatum Gilbert just took a great angle.
She did it. Props to Ellie Gilbert. She tore her ACL last season at Tennessee for Georgia. She has been working her tail off to get back. They said she worked all spring, all summer, did extra work any chance she could get, and she's able to start tonight in the opening game.
By the way, I'm getting a little note here that there's some former Georgia soccer dogs tuned in on the SEC network in Iceland right now.
Hello,
so we have gone international. Lovely Reykjavik. Fantastic. That's a place I'd love to visit someday. Remember, South Carolina had a great player from Iceland a couple of years ago. Oh, here's a shot for Georgia. It scoots up a little high, and the Dogs, it hits the crossbar. Oh,
Wow. He just hit the crossbar. Oh.
Georgia's still sniffing with Furness. And Abby Oden with the foul.
Uh-oh.
The Panthers dodged a bullet, Tatum.
They sure did. I'm not even sure how DeTrizio was able to pull this ball down. It was bouncing around. She was able to get a touch on it.
We on SEC Network Plus for today's game.
Little scoop, and then no, it wasn't a toe poke. She struck that ball.
And
But
Breach tips it, though. You can see her Breach just got a fingertip on it.
It was on the crossbar. Oh, man.
Against 7 assists a year ago, 6 goals. We'll see how the Dogs play this.
Soccer IQ for you, Jeff Dantzler. Is she shooting on goal at this distance, or is she playing at the back of the set?
Lob it for a header for DeTrizio. She's playing on goal, right to Breach. Did she just step over the line there?
It's okay, we have replay. If she did, she could step. It's where the ball is.
The ball is. I think she did keep it extended, but yes, we do have replay, and I like what they're doing. There's some Hawkeye technology, and it's just for the basics here. Is it a goal or not? Offsides, and then maybe a yellow or a red. Boy, that was, and again, to the naked eye, I couldn't tell that Breach tipped that at first, but what a great save. Just inches, millimeters. Here's Hannah White for Georgia. 6 goals last year for the Dogs. Trizio has been active. What a great addition here for this program. Part of that recipe. Panthers coming back the other way with Bellenhorst. So I feel like now the last couple of minutes of run and play might be favoring Georgia a bit, but we're still 0-0.
And that's the beauty of the game of soccer, is the momentum swings, right? So who has the ball, who's possessed, who's having the counterattacks, who's having opportunities on goal. I mean, this stadium went nuts when DeTrizio hit the post and they were able to get a set piece. So the momentum, the fans being at home, can you take that momentum and make something out of it?
Panthers trying to charge ahead. Chloe Mina, she's covered a lot of ground for Pitt in this first half. Abby Oden going to let that one slide by, and Stelter will push it ahead as the Panthers try and set it up. And Georgia, no doubt, marking Abby Oden.
I'm not sure you can mark her.
Yeah, Caulfield towards the middle. Loose one coming there for Jordan Brown. Kind of, speaking of lurking, Fury sneaking in there for Pitt.
And if you see there, Cofield, Pitt loves to send that center back, Ellie Cofield, into the attack, which makes them difficult to defend. They defend in a 4-back, but then attack in a 3-back. And so you're not used to seeing a center back get into the attack.
Here's DeTrizio again. Boy, she had a bit of an opening there. Now Dinnigan, and we got a whistle. Well, what do you think there, Tatum?
I understand what he's calling, but once again, we just made 3 very soft calls in this moment. This is a top 15 matchup.
I mean, this could be.
Well, there was a jersey pull, a little touch. I mean, both back and forth.
I mean, Tatum, not hyperbole. There's a chance these two teams can see each other in November.
That's correct. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I think this season of the women's soccer will last from August until November. It's a long way to go.
And that is, I don't think everyone necessarily knows how difficult that is to do what Hannah White just did, and how important it is for her to be able to slow the game down and keep possession.
Here's Dinnigan for Georgia, coming out wide left at the edge of the box. A great feed for White with the left foot, and another sensational save by Breach.
And I think Dinnigan played it as quick as she could, but
Offside. Oh no.
Flag go up. If she was able to get it off her foot just a little bit quicker, Hannah White would have been in. Now, would Breach have made another great save? Very likely.
That's 2 great opportunities there for Georgia. 2 great saves from Breach. Another thing I love about these keepers, 5'11". They got some great size and wingspan there.
I don't even know what that's like.
What were you listed?
I'm currently and was 5'3 3/4.
So whistle.
What?
I like it.
Oh, I see him. I couldn't see the referee because the same color as the pennies on the sidelines. Literally, it's like, where's Waldo? I'm like, where's the call?
Tatum has a slight disagreement. So you were listed at 5'3 3/4?
No, I was listed. Nobody lists 3/4.
So 5'4".
5'3". No, I think that's the same. I don't remember. It was a very long time.
There's Pitt. Stelzer. Georgia's got a run of play. Here's Katie Zalesky. She's been a rock on that back line. Started all 24 games last year, 20 of 22 the year prior. There's Shapansky. Oh, and here's Pitt with an opening. Brown coming up, and Pitt
and that is where Pitt is so good. They look for that diagonal ball so frequent.
Let's make sure everybody's okay here.
And that's where they're dangerous. Diagonal ball over the back line. It's so difficult to defend, and with the amount of pace that Pitt has up top, it's a huge opportunity for Pitt.
And I'm sure no surprise to you as a player and coach with the two outstanding coaches and staffs here. Tatum, these are two very technically sound teams.
Absolutely. You can see they pay a lot of time to the ball at their feet, trying to connect passes.
We've got a few substitutions, which brings us to one of our favorite parts of the broadcast where Tatum explains the substitution rules.
It is my favorite. So, first half, once you are subbed out of the game, you may not re-enter. In the second half, you may re-enter once.
So managing those minutes early. Pitt again knocking on the door of the freshman, 86, Abraham. Here she is, Shapansky.
That's where you have to be careful. Caroline Smith has done a great job coming in off the bench, but when you have 5 or 6 players around you, sometimes you just have to clear it up the field or out of bounds. She's trying to keep the ball in possess, but it's too dangerous of an area on the field. Could turn into a turnover, which it did, and could have turned into a goal-scoring opportunity.
2/3 of the way into this first half, scoreless. Is there going to be a goal in this first half? I kind of get a feeling one's going to get through. What do you think?
I'm just never right when you're asking these questions. It's stressful. I kind of think so, but I also could see it going in at 0-0. But quite a few changes are happening. Georgia just put in quite a few subs, and Pitt's probably going to do the same here pretty quickly.
Here's Abiota with the spin.
I don't think that one's coming out of the
game.
No,
I don't think so. She might have a near perfect 90 for 90 game in and game out all season long. Here's Georgia taking it back over. Vernus played a good game for the Bulldogs. Now Dennigan. Both had great seasons last year.
This is where Georgia's been a little better at the latter half of the first half, is keeping the ball. When you win the ball after defending, can you hold on to it? Not necessarily push it, and not necessarily force it to go forward.
Sophia Brelich has that one taken away by Stelzer. Panthers with Abraham. Back for Stelzer, and Georgia will take over here. That one's taken away from Kira Stouty, one of the top freshmen in the country a year ago. She is truly a standout, a difference maker. And what a time she picked to score her first goal a year ago.
That's right.
In the NCAA tournament.
Not important. No big deal. There's that diagonal ball.
Here's Vernus coming back the other way. Just over 13 to play in this first half. No score. Bulldogs, Panthers. But good wheels there from 5 and White. She can cover some ground to Trezio.
And initially I thought that's not a great ball to play into the box with all the pressure around her, but Trezio seems to be able to.
It's 7:08 p.m.
steps to get in that back line.
And this is a spot too, and again, both of these teams.
It's going to be a very busy day. Trust me.
You want to win so badly right here, but you're also trying to see different combinations and manage minutes. So there's a lot to think about. That's where coaches have to.
It's 7:08 p.m.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, but
right.
Everybody's got the competitive juices too.
Well, sure, and a lot of both coaches.
We're under 13 minutes left to go in the first half.
The spots that they lost, with Pitt losing their wingers, Georgia obviously losing Croy Bethune and Mally McKenzie, and some of those kids who put in significant minutes to help Georgia get to where they got last season. And so you're trying to find your answers. In exhibition, you can find some answers, but you're also, exhibition is an exhibition. So you're playing a bunch of different kids. You know, you're not necessarily playing your starting 11. So really, this is kind of like, all right, here you guys go. Let's see what you got.
Only sport that plays exhibition games.
It's also the only sport that you play a game like 2 weeks after you start
everybody's in the
practice.
same boat though.
And they all play exhibitions. Are we going to do this argument?
Yeah, I just think they all ought to be real and count because I like calling the games. I like to. Georgia played Clemson a few days ago. There was no coverage. That's not right. Come on. Plus, I want to do a game when Georgia plays Clemson and you're wearing your old orange jersey.
That's not going to happen.
Here come the Panthers with Abraham down the right side. Smith right there with Abraham. Great job keeping possession with that left foot. She has been integral. And another thing, too, with the opener here, Tatum, when you're talking about putting together a scouting report, you've been on both ends of it as a player and a coach. You know, all these great players for Pitt, like
It's
Coffey,
7:10 p.m.
Abioda, Fury, Venus. And you get this freshman, Abraham. She's probably not even on page 1 or 2 of the scouting report. Here she is playing a prominent role tonight.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think Pitt knew who Georgia was going to start. I don't think Georgia knew who Pitt was going to start. I think they knew some of their key players on both ends, but not what it was going to look like overall. You know, an idea of how they might play, but you just don't know. It's a new team. It's a new year. And nobody's given up.
It's a
their
brand new
exhibition notes.
it's a brand new
So,
school year, and it's a brand new
There's
season
something
this
else
year.
for you. Here's Stouty charging
So
ahead.
our goals for
Stouty.
this
Great job
season this year will
possession.
be the same
And
thing
Georgia wanted a foul
as
there, and
make
Stouty
it to the
with
national
Trizio.
championship
That
and
could
win
be
it
a good
all.
combination there. It looked like the Trizio had
Just like we did last year.
Been able to survive a good defense
Well,
by the Panthers.
I
on the
think
back
it looks
end.
like Stouty was about to play it, but then I think she thought she was about to fall down and get a foul, and then realized it wasn't happening. So
Great balance there.
I was just about to say I don't think I've seen Abioda get the ball up, but she didn't. She
Yeah.
won it back. Little
She
toe
just
poke.
took that one away from Breelage. Pittsburgh Pirates, Florida. Sophia Breelage wears number 7 for Bulldogs.
And Sophia Breelage, great story there. Sophia Breelage actually reclassified.
Pitt with a bit of a crack at this one. Georgia hustling back.
So she's actually really a senior in high school. 17-year-old, was able to graduate early and enrolled here at Georgia.
And you brought up the point, too, so you've got that. Then Hannah White having the 6th year. What was the age gap? You say 23 to 17? Is that right?
correct. Yes, yes. So, you know, Coach Kadani McAlpine talked a lot about the culture and that really it should be the sophomore class that's helping the freshman class through because they were just there. And then it kind of moves up the ladder. The junior class helping the sophomores transition from freshman year to sophomore year, transition from living on campus to off campus, all those things.
Quarter kick there from the Panthers. And Brown going to catch that one cleanly, and that was a must. There were 3 Panthers lurking inside the 6.
And that's where Jordan Brown will get you. You know, that ball looked like it was going over and it was almost a little Spider-Man, you know, reaching out, grabbing and sticking to her hands.
And we are underway at the
And I met her
Turner
last
Soccer
year
Complex
playing
Stadium
college
in
basketball.
Athens, Georgia. Already.
He is a
Earlier.
dude. Easy to spot in the crowd. 6'11", and a great guy.
When would it be our first goal of the game?
Definitely for
When's it
playing
gonna be?
pickup hoops, he's on my team.
Like 3v3.
I'm glad she
half-court.
passed it back to that goalie.
Dump it off. Dogs number 20, Abby Uncrowd in, and here's Pitt. There she is.
Pitt did a great job there just letting Georgia possess in that area of the field where they did. And as soon as a ball was played where they could win it, they stepped in to win it and then transitioned to goal.
Here's Abioda. Abioda through traffic. Georgia converges. Pitt again with numbers. Abioda. Georgia clears it out for the moment. Bullet dodge for the Dogs here. So Georgia trying to turn things back the other way. Here's Breelage. Just over 7.5 to go.
I don't understand. You call that a foul?
It's warm out there. Sometimes the officials get tired. Gonna get a little stop.
What is the temp?
It's actually been.
It has been low
For
today.
Athens, Georgia, in mid-August, anything below 90, you're very happy with that.
A little cloudy today.
I got 85 right now, and it's not as humid as it's been.
No.
So the feels like is 86.
And Pitt's kind of doing the same thing here defensively, letting Georgia possess in that area of the field where they're not going to hurt you.
Just over 7 to go. Panthers. Just a terrific takeaway.
It's great
Little
defending
Brown.
there by is it number 9, Wells.
All ACC academic a year ago. And by the way, just going through the notes, a lot of players from both of these teams, all conference academically, very good students. And I think when you mentioned the reclassification, we'll get to that in just a moment here with Abraham going down the right side. Centering pass going to go a bit far, though, and Georgia will try to take possession, but Pitt able to get it back.
I like how Pitt's roster is made up as well. You've got a bunch of in-state kids. You know, you want to put your wall up around your Pennsylvania kids. And then you've got kids from Nigeria. You've got Canadians. You've got kids from Georgia, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas. So they really have gone all over the country as well as all over the world with their recruiting.
And it's interesting, in the state of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh and Western PA, it's got more of a Midwestern feel, where Philly is more of the, you think, Northeast Philly, Boston, New York City. And Pittsburgh, great athletic heritage. Of course, Georgia, great athletic heritage. And this is just a fun opener to have two teams like this getting together. But mentioning Breelager again, the reclassification thing is tough. If you see it, say, in the spring, if somebody does it for baseball, if you do it for tennis, you think like, well, you're pretty much just advancing by half a year, maybe by a semester. But to come in for a fall sporting, that is a full year. Here's Abby Oden. Holy cow, that one had a little whoop to it.
What did it have?
Yeah, I like the little curve to it from right to left. Like my shot tracer on the Golf Channel for that. Nifty. Here's Smith down the left side. Smith through traffic. Hits it to Breelage. Doubled quickly. Loose ball. Shapansky gets hit from behind. It's going to be a foul on Georgia. And there you see 5 in blue.
How many fouls have we had so far?
Been a few here tonight. Pitt with possession, under 5 to go. This is that time of the game, Tatum. You talked about this a lot, where it can be a little hairy thing. Both teams, yeah, you take 0-0 going into the locker room, but maybe you could play a little too cautious. A mistake happens, a ball gets left out there, and you can see a cheap goal. We see it a lot, usually inside that last minute or so.
Sure, whether, you know, with so many players coming in off the bench, whether they're cold or whether they're just not in the rhythm with the game, you know, a step behind. It could be all kinds of things. Right now, Pitt's probably pressing to try to get a goal before the half, and Georgia's probably happy to stay on and get to halftime right now, 0-0.
I would say Abby Oden is not a step behind and is in rhythm with this game.
Is that it? No, she's not.
She is some kind of talent. And again, fresh off the Olympics. Fresh being an air quote. I don't think fitness is an issue with her. And I'm sure there's some players you'd say, hey, you need to take some time, maybe get nothing. I'm here to play.
Coach Waldrum did talk about they did give her, you know, a few days off. Obviously, she didn't come from the Olympics and start preseason at Pitt. They gave her a few days rest, and they're about to give her 3.5 minutes of rest right now.
There you see Tori Penn, number 31, coming in for Georgia, back for her 5th year out of Atlanta, 7 career goals. She had a big game winner in the SEC tournament 2 years ago against Tennessee. So that's a very good striker to be able to bring in off the bench. Terrific experience. And then you got the family ties there too, Tatum.
That's right. Her and Hannah White are stepsisters. Great little family dynamics. Played club at Top Hat in Atlanta growing up.
Okay.
Their relationship is hilarious as well.
As you said, 2 years ago, the big score in the SEC tournament. But it's tough, too, for soccer. It's the early start, Tatum. It's the first sport out of the game, and it's also the fastest season.
Sure,
so
shortest.
That could be a bit of a double whammy there, too, because let's say you're nursing an injury, and let's face it, ACL rate very high in college soccer. Maybe you're coming back. It's very difficult to have a team at full strength and in rhythm for an entire season.
Oh, sure. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, and you obviously want to be playing your best soccer in November and December, tournament time. So it's all about the timing as well and not pushing players too hard. And if you notice what Coach McAlpine and their staff did last year for Corey Bethune, she was coming
We're
back
under
from
2
an
minutes to
ACL
go in the
and
first half.
Didn't start playing until
Whoa.
really didn't get going until SEC play. And then she was probably one of the biggest difference in the SEC championship and getting as far as Georgia did. But the way that they handled her coming back has prepared her for where she is today. I mean, being, up for Rookie of the Year in the NWSL, being on the Olympic team, she was an alternate, but was able to get in with an injury and get a gold medal. So, all of those things, when you're putting the players' health first and you're slowly integrating them back into the play, it's just what you have to do, and it is hard when it's such a short season.
And let's face it, every recruit out there, if you play soccer, if you're a 16-year-old high school student, you're watching the Olympics, you're watching the World Cup, obviously, and to have both of these programs represented there, that's huge for the future. And here's Georgia on the run with Dinnigan, passing it down the far right side. Dogs trying to
We're in the final.
Yeah, I don't know how many games tonight can say that they have,
each
on their team last
We're
season.
in the
Right
final
now,
few minutes of playing
on the roster.
in the first half before
I don't know how
halftime.
many teams can say that, number one. And then number two can say they've both had an Olympian.
Well, the clock's favoring Georgia right now. Vernus with a corner kick.
I'll be right downstairs in a
Down from
minute.
Pitt would have a shot to answer.
With a goal?
That's a great job by Pitt on the back end.
Come on.
Here's Stouty for Georgia with 22 seconds to go. Stouty turning the Panthers there defensively.
It's a great job there for her to win that ball back because it could have been a dangerous attack from Pitt. What a great ball there by Kate Harden.
Here's Tori Penn out wide on the right side. Carolyn Smith. Oh, that hurts.
Ooh.
Right into the
Uh-oh.
face. And Chloe Mean is
And
gonna be
that
smart
will
over that
do
field.
it.
Head
Now it's
into the
halftime.
half. Scoreless. A really terrific first half. Great action there. And they had the big play that first half. We'll see the highlights soon. The fingertip save from Elliott Breach to deny a goal for Georgia's Margie Detrezio.
That's great. A lot of momentum. Pitt had the momentum at the beginning. They were able to keep the ball. They were able to possess. They were able to attack as a unit. Georgia was a step behind. And then once Georgia figured it out defensively and was able to connect some passes coming out of the back, then they were able to go to goal. So both teams are going to go in at halftime, assess the first half. And really, this is when you start tweaking already, because this is really both programs' first half of real soccer. So second half should look, similar, but a bit different. Are we going to see a little bit more going forward?
And Mean is being checked on by the Pitt trainer, a little slow getting to her feet. That one stung. All right. News and notes around the SEC. When we come back, scoreless in Athens on the SEC.
We are
Network.
scoreless. Wow.